You're Vinny Johnson. You remember Vinny Johnson?
Microwave? Yeah, Detroit?
Yep.
Yeah.
Turned into a Vinny Johnson, man.
Appreciate it.
So is it hard to accept that role? High school, you're, I'm sure, always starting. Is it hard to accept the coming off the bench, and how difficult is that?
It's not difficult at all. It's one of those things where I understand what I do have to do to help us win games, and that's all that matters to me. So if I could do that by coming off the bench, it doesn't make any difference.
When you bank 1-3 in, I mean, okay, that's, that happens. And you do it a second time in the same game, what goes through your mind in a situation like that?
Thank God it went in. That's it.
I was just saying, when you bank in a 3, do you hold your form?
I honestly couldn't tell you. Like I said, it felt good when it came off my hands. So I feel like it was gonna go in either way. So the fact that it went in off a bank, I mean, I guess.
Yeah. The game, the way they play defense, and the way they overplay, and if you reverse the ball. Did you know going into the game that this is going to be an opportunity for me to get some threes because of the way they play defense?
I knew it was just one of those things where I just had to stay ready because you just never know. Things are always different once you get out on the floor. But, coaches did have us prepared, and they told us, you guys will be able to get open threes off of skips and stuff like that. So my whole thing was just making sure I was ready for those moments.
Gotcha.
Seth, you played last year, but obviously your minutes have increased. Was it hard to sort of wait a little bit last year and just sort of watch from the side?
Me being a competitor, it's always hard. But at the same time, though, I knew who I was learning behind. I was learning from Sean and Taz, which are two great guards to learn from. So, I just tried to be a sponge and absorb everything I can in order to, help me and, help us move forward. So,
What'd you learn? When you saw them, what'd you learn?
I learned how to, to compete. I learned, some leadership things. Naturally, watching those guys score and put the ball in the hole the way that they did. You obviously pick up, little things from that. But that's pretty much it, though.
You were here last year through the losing streak in conference games.
Mm-hmm.
You went through 3. What was it? Was it relief when you finally got the win at Texas Tech? What was it? The mindset?
Mindset was build. We can't be satisfied. It's just another win. We have to continue, to try to build on that and get better. So that by the time that time comes around, we're clicking and we're hitting all cylinders.
I don't know how far you I know you're preparing for this game tomorrow, but you've got number 30 in the net on Saturday, then you got number 13 coming up,
mm-hmm.
and you got number 8 coming up, mm-hmm. then you got number 9 coming up. There's some really, really challenging games coming up here in the next week to 10 days.
Right. We're just gonna, be as prepared as we can. We're gonna trust, the coach's game plan, and all of us as a team are gonna make sure that we put in the work and, try to be ready and be prepared to, go try to get wins.
Are you aware of what TCU's done since they lost to you guys?
Sorta, yeah, a little bit, but like I said, my main focus has just been on us because, we got to get things right here still and, make sure that we're good, because at the end of the day, it's about us and what we do.
Gotcha.
Seth, hardest part of the adjustment to college? You're deep into it now, but what was the most difficult part initially?
For me, just, adjusting to, being on your own, Yeah, that's a huge adjustment, off the floor. But on the floor, it's still basketball, Things change, you learn new things, but at the end of the day, it's still basketball. So as long as I keep that perspective of what basketball is at its fundamental, I'm good.
You talked to Josiah and Josiah about that since they're young and on their own?
Yeah, definitely. Those guys being new, never know when we're going to need them. So just making sure that, they're mentally ready and mentally there and physically there, that's all that matters. So I'm just trying to make sure they stay uplifted and stuff like that.
Seth, you guys have basically gone through half the grind in the Big 12.
Mm-hmm.
some people say, okay, well, this is kind of a change-up kind of a thing, but does this game against Auburn, it probably just feels like another Big 12 game, I would imagine, doesn't it? Does it feel like some kind of break at all?
Yeah, you definitely can't sleep on them, obviously. They're a great team. So, yeah, I mean, we're taking it with the same approach. Like, they're in conference, and, it's just another game that we have to go out and try to win, and we can't take lightly for surely.
What are you seeing there? I mean, obviously they got the really good point guard and then the big guy, too. I mean, what are you seeing there?
Seeing a lot of guys that just play hard, give a lot of effort. They're very skilled. So, like I said, we're just trying to be prepared for them, and we got to take them as if they're a Big 12 opponent because they have the same talent as, Big 12 opponents. So,
Seth, I'm guessing growing up you were probably a fan of the NCAA tournament, right?
Mm-hmm.
Watch the bubble, all that stuff,
Mm-hmm.
fill out brackets. Can you compare not like what it's like being in it, but 5 or 6 years ago looking at it, and then looking at it now and how much has changed? Because no offense to your record, but you would look at your record and say it's probably not a tournament team, but all
Right.
the numbers say you're right there.
Right.
It just seems like everything has changed so much. Just what is it like as someone who's been through it maybe from a different perspective as us?
Growing up, like you said, just watching it, it doesn't really click that you're going to have to, try to be in it until, you're actually out there on the floor and trying to win games to, advance and be in the tournament. So, but as far as changes, go, I don't see much, we just got to get it right and make sure that we win so that, everybody can be in the tournament because I know that's everybody's dream and that's what everybody wants to play in.
Is it, I don't know what the word would be, hopeful, optimist, whatever, but when you're 1-6, whatever, but you're right there. And you're like, all right, that might be disqualifying in some years, but it's played a pretty good schedule in a tough league that you're still right there. And again, that might not have been the case a couple of years ago, but does that help at all, or is that just the record's a record and it's kind of a bummer?
It definitely it helps, but at the same time, though, we do understand that the record that we have right now isn't what we want it to be, and that we're going to have to improve on that in order to make sure that we're for sure, into the tournament, and it's not one of those things where, it's iffy.
Just kind of curious, James Concord is very much in a similar situation, trying to work his way up and get more confidence and more playing time. The play he had, the block he had in that Texas Tech game, how many times did he watch that on the way home? And what does a play like that do for him?
Oh, it's nothing but confidence. We're gonna tell him. We all tell him. That we need more. We need more of that. You know what I'm saying? And to answer your question about how many times we watched it, we probably watched that video about 1,000 times on the bus. If we could have, we would have put it on the TVs on the bus. If we could have, But we're all excited for him, and we all just want him to keep on improving and giving us more of those blocks and rebounds and stuff that he could give us.
You see a confidence boost coming?
Huge.
Yeah.
That we need him.
Yeah.
We need him. So the fact that his confidence is growing and he's doing what he's doing out there, it's amazing. So we're just trying to encourage it, keep it going.
Not too bad for a tennis player, huh?
Yeah. I promised him I wouldn't make a joke about that. He doesn't like that, so I'm gonna stay away from that.
Blame it on me.
What does he bring that maybe some of the other big guys don't?
It's not one of those things where the big guys don't, bring something to the table, because everybody's different. Everybody's got their own, different way that they play. But, he's just an athlete, and he's going to go get rebounds. He's going to go block shots. He's going to dunk the ball, which all of our bigs are capable of doing. But right now, we just need him to do more of it. You know what I mean?
Planning to meet.
Go ahead. Is that the big game against Portland State?
I guess.
Okay. My point, it was a while ago, right?
Yeah.
Do you feel like it sounds like, just listening to Huggins talk, that you're more equipped to keep that going and keep it building toward, maybe not a huge game like that the other night, but something substantial to it, and then to keep it going from there.
Right.
I guess, what have you done to turn one night into 2 or 3, or 1 week into 2 or 3 weeks?
Just trying to stay consistent with, my workouts on off the floor. Trying to make sure that I'm just staying in the gym, doing something, whether that be form shots, just something, to keep my mind, locked in and keep on, doing what I'm doing.
Planning to meet Barkley?
I didn't even know that was an option. Yeah, I guess so.
What do you? What's your memory of Charles Barkley? What do you got?
Charles Barkley? All I know is I'm too young to actually see a game.
See a game. So you know
But
him from being
I,
a studio host?
I know him. No, I've seen highlights. I've seen highlights, but all I know him from is Space Jam. He got his power stick. You know what I'm saying? But obviously I know of his legacy. I know how great of a rebounder he was and all those things. But yeah, I just not old enough to see him play.
You may be surprised. He's only 6'4". He's
Really?
not a real tall dude.
Oh man. I've been trying to tell people we gotta get that fixed if I'm the same height as Charles Barkley, man. Yeah.
But to be able to grab those rebounds and dominate at that size is pretty impressive. I guess.
It is extremely, extremely.
So, kind of like what Mike was saying, it kind of popped something in my head here. I mean, you guys come to college looking to play the top competition. But when you look around the other leagues, even the other Power 5 leagues, I mean, there's good competition in those leagues.
Right.
But then there's also maybe a couple breaks, too. You don't really get that in the Big 12. So, you want to play the best competition, but when it's day after day, I guess I'm kind of wondering, do you really know, as a young kid coming into the Big 12, what you're getting into?
But you don't.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where you're out, you hear about it because, while you're watching basketball, you see, okay, the Big 12's got this, and this, all that. And then when you get out there on the floor and you actually are in it and you're playing, and you're like, okay, this is for real. You know what I'm saying? So it's one of those things where but you don't. But once you do know, you're willing to say, yeah, it's really, like that. So.
Is it worth it?
100%.
I mean, you could have gone to another school and...
100%.
Yeah, okay.
100%. I wouldn't have changed it for nothing. It's all worth it.
Seth, Hug talks about the travel grind for a player. Is it exhausting? Charter flight and
It's definitely a grind. You know what I'm saying? We didn't get back from tech until 2, 3 in the morning. Obviously you gotta get up and go to class the next day. It's definitely a grind, but it's all worth it. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't trade it for nothing, and I'd continue to do it.
Can you sleep on planes?
Yeah, I can sleep anywhere.
That's not a problem.
Nah, it's never been.
so what's your routine when you're coming home and have a long flight? Headset on?
Yeah, gotta have a headset on, because if you don't, I don't wish that on anybody playing ride with no headset, but headset, couple movies. I like to track my movies by the amount of time we got on the flight. It's like a 3-hour flight. It's 2 movies, a movie and a half. But yeah, make sure you have your movies and your music, and you be good to go.
Who snores?
Who snores? I don't know, 'cause I got my headphones in. I don't be paying attention. It might be me. It might be me, because I don't only make it 15 minutes into the movie before I'm asleep. So the movie watches me.
Seth, you hadn't won a Big 12 road game, right?
Right.
Was that trip it was like getting up for class Thursday morning had to be easy, right?
To get up for class?
Yeah,
When we got back.
and in your sales, right?
It wasn't as hard as it would be, if we would have lost. But, obviously getting up at 3 in the morning and getting back at 2, 3 in the morning and going to class is not easy, But I did it. So
What's your class?
communications class. Yeah. Go in there.
What's it like going to class and you got people there talking about everything you did in the game last night? I mean, everybody's watching the game on TV, and you have to go through that. I mean, what's that like?
Yeah, it's cool. It's one of those things where it's you really realize how much, you mean to the university, kind of. And I use it as, once people tell me, we saw this, that, and the third, it's okay, I really got to go win because you guys really, care. So it puts just another level of motivation in me as well to go out there and perform well and try to win games.
Seth,